What's up, Bucs fans, NFL fans, and betting fans? This is Matt Matera from PewterReport.com for week 2 of Pewter Report's newest show, Pewter Picks and Props, where each week I will be going through the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, picking the spread, picking the over-under for the Bucs specifically, a couple of player props as well, and we'll take a look around the rest of the league. Had an awesome time debuting the show last week, and if you paid attention, if you listened to me, you got yourself some dough. I was 5-2 with my NFL picks, including the Bucs covering the 6.5-point spread and that game going under of 45.5. Also hit on the Mike Evans prop over his receiving yards or higher than his receiving yards, and KJ Osborne of the Vikings as well. Didn't hit Rachaad White, couldn't be perfect, but off to a pretty good start between the 5-2 record for the picks and some of the player props that hit as well. Let's get into week 2, Bucs versus Bears. A little bit of a different feel for this one. I'm going quarterback heavy, Baker Mayfield and Justin Fields. Those are my two selections in this game. And by the way, Pewter Picks and Props is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code Pewter, get yourself a first deposit bonus, and play all the different games that they have, whether it's the pick'ems, the rivals, go higher or lower with all the different players that you could choose from. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. But let's get into it. My Pewter Picks and Props for this week's game of the Buccaneers at home against the Chicago Bears. Just 2 picks in this one. Sometimes you don't want to get too overzealous with it. I went with 3 last week and went 2 for 3. I just want to go 2 for 2 in this one. And as you guys know, when it comes to these picks on Underdog Fantasy, you have to pick one player from one team and another player from the separate team. So it's not all just Bucs picks. It's Bucs and Bears for this one. And I'm sticking with the quarterbacks for a couple of reasons. Let's start with Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield and what's exciting about him. Baker was big for what he did with his legs last week. He won that angry run scepter from Good Morning Football. He got the Bucs that first down when they needed and then converted later on with Chris Godwin. But let's also remember, it was a bumpy start for the Bucs in that first quarter in a game against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, why do I like Baker of over 208.5 yards? Because it literally could not get worse than what it was in the first quarter of Bucs versus Vikings. The Bucs couldn't get a first down. They had one early on, and that was it. Some of Baker's throws were high. Sometimes the receivers didn't necessarily help him out, whether it was Mike Evans on a deep ball, Keefe turning too quick on one of the first throws of the game. The Bucs have a much more favorable matchup against the Chicago Bears, who made Jordan Love look like his predecessors of quarterbacks for the Packers with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. They allowed 38 points and a lot of yards in that one. So Baker Mayfield only threw for 173 yards against the Vikings, and that was with an abysmal, and I mean abysmal, first quarter by the whole team. I think Baker, he's got that confidence back. He's got that chippiness. Look at that smile on Baker after getting his first win as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. I think Baker, much more relaxed, much more poised, is going to take him a long way. Yes, the Bucs are going to want to run the ball, but with the advantages they have against the Chicago Bears, they can be able to throw it too, and I think they're going to have a number of options to go with. Another reason why I really like Baker over 208.5 yards is the matchup at middle linebacker. Now, the Bears linebackers, Tremaine Edmonds being one of them, solid tacklers, made a lot of tackles in the first game for the Bears, but they struggled in their coverage a lot. They struggled going sideline to sideline. And what does offensive coordinator Dave Canales run for Tampa Bay? Slants, mesh routes, getting the ball out quick, forcing the defense to go sideline to sideline, forcing the defense to look at this motion even pre-snap. I think the Bucs can win this game from their pre-snap alone. So you get Chris Godwin going over the middle. you get Mike Evans going over the middle. There is a great opportunity for Baker to only throw the ball 5 yards down the field. It ended up being 15 yards. So I love the advantage that the Bucs have against the linebackers of the Bears in the secondary as well. I think Mike and Chris can really take advantage of a lot of the big things they got going on. So I'm taking the over in or higher than 208.5 receiving yards or passing yards, for Baker Mayfield. Now, I also like the higher in passing yards for Justin Fields, and that's at 175.5. Part of the reason that I like it is because it's so low. Justin Fields, we all know at this point, he is a extremely athletic quarterback that likes to run, sometimes has to run out of necessity because of a porous offensive line for the Chicago Bears. What Tampa Bay wants to do is keep him in the pocket. That's what Todd Bowles had been reiterating time and time and time again.
To keep him in the pocket and throwing versus letting him escape.
Everyone's tried. Everybody's tried. He's probably faster than everybody we have in the front seven. So, it's going to be a team effort. We're going to have to rally to him, and they have other guys he can get the ball to. But you say you want to keep him in the pocket and contain him, but if your D-line runs a 4.9 and he runs a 4.4, there's going to be a problem at some point. So we just got to make sure we have enough eyes on him that we can go get him.
Yeah, it's on display. Everyone knows what Justin Fields can do. So by the Bucs keeping Fields in the pocket long enough, he's going to have to throw it. He's going to have to. He's not going to have many other options. And while the Bears, there's a reason why they had the number 1 pick before they traded to the Carolina Panthers. They do have a little more talent this season at wide receiver. Part of that big deal was getting DJ Moore, who torched the Bucs last season. DJ Moore only had 2 targets and 2 catches in their week 1 loss to the Green Bay Packers. So I think the Bears are going to completely overcompensate for that by targeting DJ Moore nonstop in this game. Carlton Davis has a toe injury at the moment. We'll see if he plays in this game. The biggest reason why I like Justin Fields doesn't even have to do with the Bears being efficient on offense. Personally, I think the Bucs are going to smoke the Bears in this game. We'll talk about the spread and the over-under in a little bit. I'm talking about garbage time. It doesn't matter how you get the stats. It's all about the garbage time. And later on in the game, when the Bucs are up by a lot and Todd Bowles is done with his exotic blitzing, he's going to stay back. He's going to play a lot of zone, and he's going to let the Bears take 7.5 minutes off the clock, dinking and dunking down the field. And you know what? That's totally fine. The Bears can have a 65-yard drive where it's going to be just passes the whole time. So Justin Fields got to make a couple of plays to really get over 175.5 passing yards. He did it last week. He got over 200. And again, they got blown out in that game. I think it's going to be a similar type of look in this one for the Bucs against the Bears. Before we talk about the spread in this game, let's hear from Underdog Fantasy, or let's further explain how you can make these pick'em props on Underdog Fantasy. Obviously, such a fun app to use. You pick a higher or lower on at least 2 player stats. So for this one, you do a Bucs player and a Bears player, whether you think Mike Evans is going to have higher his amount of receiving yards or lower, and same with Bears players. And the more picks you make, the more money you can obviously win at Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code Pewter, that's PEWTER, and get a first deposit bonus at Underdog Fantasy. That's right. Play now with Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code Pewter, that's PEWTER. There's a number of things you can use for Underdog Fantasy, not just in football, too. Obviously, football is the best sport, but you could do it for basketball, hockey, golf, college football, too. So get over to the pick'ems, the rivals, all that fun stuff at Underdog Fantasy with the promo code Pewter. Now, for the spread, the Bucs are a 3-point favorite. One of the few times the Bucs will be a favorite this season. And it's 3 points. That means if the Bucs win 14-10, the Bucs would cover. If they won 12-10, they would not. And the over-under in this game is 40.5. There is a chance of rain in this one, but rain in Florida is very, very different for a number of reasons. The Bucs under hit last week. But again, I think if you look at that first quarter for Tampa Bay, things are going to be way more different this week. Dave Canales, this isn't his first time calling a play anymore. This is his second career NFL game. And I think he's going to be that much more comfortable with the offense, what the offense can do well. There's some tape on the Bears that they can look at and see what they can exploit. I think they're going to be great in the ground game. I think Baker is going to be slinging it all over. I can see for the first time this season, it's only been 2 games, I can see the Bucs scoring 30 points in this game. I can. And that was few and far between last season for Tampa Bay. But with this new offense, I mean, it didn't even look that good. You know, Chris Godwin made the big play at the end to close it out. Mike Evans led the team in receiving yards. It didn't even get a target until the second quarter. So I think the Bucs are going to want to come out hot in this one, come out fast. You heard Rachaad White talk about that. And they want to right a lot of the wrongs. Like, let's forget, the Bucs were not perfect in the week 1 win over the Vikings. They got gifted by a couple of turnovers that were mistakes by the Vikings. They got gifted with a touchdown after they kicked the field goal and there was an offsides penalty on the Vikings. So there's a lot of work for the Bucs to clean up. But the Bears defensive line, all they have is Yannick Ngakoue, who is just a pass rusher. He's not a run stopper by any means. The Bears didn't commit any turnovers last week. They were the one turning the ball over. So another clean game is going to be expected from Baker and the Buccaneers. I see the Bucs scoring 30 points in that game on Sunday. Take the Bucs -3. And much like how the Bears got pummeled by the Packers, they were still able to put up 20 points. So I think the Bucs defense is going to have a field day with the Bears, but garbage time can be a sweet, sweet thing for those wanting to bet the over because it's at 40.5. That's one of the lowest overs that you will find around the league. So I think for a team like the Bucs that still many people are sleeping on, you got to take that advantage. There were a lot of unders that hit in week 1. This is a great opportunity for a smaller over to be hit just because the Bucs can do a lot of damage on offense, take advantage of the Bears defense. The Bears playing in the heat. We know the Bucs offense. They like to do body blow after body blow after body blow. They're going to get the Bears running from sideline to sideline, tire them out. There's going to be some big plays for the Bucs. Will it be Mike Evans? Will it be Chris Godwin? We will find out. But there's a huge opportunity for the Bucs, who covered their first 2 games of last season. They're looking to do that again. Then that's where the turmoil happened and the under hit a lot and they didn't cover a lot of spreads. They actually did not cover for 6 weeks in a row. But I think the Bucs started out hot again with a 2-0 start, with the Bucs covering the spread of 3.5 and also take that over of 40.5. Like I said, I got both right last week for the Bucs, and I'm feeling good about Tampa Bay again this week. So one more time, Bucs -3 and the over of 40.5. I like to do anytime touchdowns as well. For the anytime touchdowns, if you have a separate gambling site that you like to go to, you can get that prop bet on this one. I think there's going to be a lot of redemption for Rachaad White. I think people were unhappy with how he performed in week 1. The Bucs didn't really have too many goal line opportunities. They went 3 and out that first time on the Antoine Winfield Jr. Strip sack. And then the Mike Evans touchdown was a 28-yard throw. So not too many goal line and red zone opportunities for the Bucs. I think that changes this week. So I'm picking Rachaad White for an anytime touchdown to reach the end zone this week and silence some of those doubters. So those are my picks for the Bucs this week. Let's get into my other picks around the league. Remember, including the Bucs picks, I had 7 last week and I went 5-2. Have a couple more on the list for week 2 since I'm feeling pretty good. Let's get into the action. We'll start with an NFC South rival again for the Buccaneers, and that is the 1-0 Atlanta Falcons. They're playing against the Green Bay Packers, who just demolished the Bears in week 1. Their over is pretty small as well. I see it as 40.5 for the Packers and the Falcons. The big question in this one is, can the Falcons run the ball against Green Bay? I think Jordan Love looking pretty good. will be able to attack this Falcons defense. Yes, they have a great corner, but one great player doesn't make the whole team. I love the over 40.5 in Green Bay against Atlanta. The next one, a lot of points scored last week. I don't know if that's going to be the case this week. It's the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. That Dolphins-Chargers game was the game of the week. That was also my lock of the week, Dolphins +3, which hit. This one, the over-under is 46.5. I like the under in this one. This is a rivalry game with the AFC East. Bill Belichick knows how to control the clock, make the big changes for New England. Still got Bucs on the brain. Knows that he can't just let the Dolphins get the ball continuously and run their offense, which is big play after big play. New England's going to want to run it. They're going to have those long, methodical drives, and also they're going to try to out-physical Miami, which I actually think they'll have a pretty good job doing again. So 46.5 is a pretty high number. I like the under in that one. This next game is a bit of a revenge game for not just myself, but for a team that got clobbered last week. So last week I picked the Commanders to beat or to cover the spread against the Arizona Cardinals. They did not. So shout out to the Cardinals for proving me wrong and covering that -7 spread. I don't know if they'll have the same luck this week as the Cardinals host the New York Giants, who lost 40-0 against the Dallas Cowboys. You know the Giants are going to be absolutely pissed for the way that they got embarrassed on Sunday Night Football. I really like the Giants -4.5, even though they're on the road against the Cardinals. Cardinals played fairly well against Washington, but hungry dogs run faster, and the Giants getting embarrassed, I think they're going to try to do the same to the Cardinals on Sunday. My lock of the week is Raiders-Bills under 47.5. We all watched that Monday Night Football game. Obviously, the big news was Aaron Rodgers tearing his Achilles, and he's out for the season. But let's not forget, the Buffalo Bills played absolutely awful in that second half, specifically Josh Allen. To improve, the Raiders have a very solid defense, obviously, with Max Crosby as a premier pass rusher. I think the Bills have kind of lost a step a little bit offensively. Not as many weapons there. Stephon Diggs, not too happy with Josh Allen. Yes, they got the tight end. That's pretty good. But I kind of see this as a big game for the Bills defense as well. I mean, they played pretty good against the Jets, especially with Zach Wilson in the game. I look at this as the type of game where the Bills could beat the Raiders 34-10. I don't think the Raiders are anything special, even with Adams, the wide receiver, even with their running back that's super, super talented. I look at this game as a blowout where the score is so lopsided that the Bills still win by a ton, and the under hits at 47.5. That's my lock of the week, Bills versus Raiders. A couple more to go through. The Ravens +2 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Once again, NFC North matchup, super, super tough. I think Joe Burrow, coming off of a horrible performance, is going to play way better. But also, is he fully in sync just yet? Has he found that chemistry with his wide receivers yet? That he's played with for a while, but each season is new. I think the Ravens take advantage of still a rusty Joe Burrow and get the win over the Cincinnati Bengals, who historically have had slow starts the past couple seasons with Joe Burrow. So give me the Ravens +2 in that one. Browns against the Steelers. Browns are a 2-point favorite on the road against Pittsburgh. I expect Pittsburgh to play 10 times better than they did in the season opener, but the Browns seem like a real force to be reckoned with. Again, Deshaun Watson, not a good guy. There is a ton of talent on that team, though. So whether it's Amari Cooper, Watson playing well, Nick Chubb, and that defense is no joke at all. Steelers have a lot to figure out, taking the Browns -2 in that one. And my final pick of this slate of NFL games, it's the Monday night game. Actually, both are Monday night games, but the other one, the New Orleans Saints, -3 against the Carolina Panthers. This is more about the Panthers than the New Orleans Saints. I just don't think the Saints, I just don't think the Panthers can really hang with many teams. Their defense is good. They have no talent on offense. You're going to see a lot of struggles from Bryce Young. Even I don't care that it's the home opener for the Carolina Panthers. New Orleans defense is still stingy. I think Derek Carr is going to look better in week 2. He obviously had the big play that went viral on social media. Give me the Saints -2 on the road against the Carolina Panthers. So one last time, all of my picks for the week 2 of the NFL, the Pewter Picks and Props. My prop picks for Underdog Fantasy, Baker Mayfield, higher than 208.5 passing yards. Justin Fields, higher than 175.5 passing yards. The spread in the Bucs game, I'm taking Bucs -3 and give me the over in that one. And anytime touchdown, Rashad White. For the rest of the league, I got Green Bay, Atlanta over 40.5. New England, Miami under 46.5. Giants -4.5. My lock of the week is Raiders, Bills under 47.5. Then I got Ravens +2 against the Bengals, Browns -2 against the Steelers, and Saints -3 against the Carolina Panthers. Let's see what we got for this week, but it should be a ton of fun. Let's see if I can keep that winning record going. All right, that's going to do it for this week's show. Thank you to everybody for watching. I'm Matt Matera from PewterReport.com. Please follow me on my social media. My Twitter is @Matty__Matera. That's Matera. I'm going to be putting my picks out on there for both college football, which you'll see on Saturday, and my picks from this show on Sunday after the games kick off, so you won't find out until you watch this video first. And, of course, follow me and Pewter Report on Pewter Report's account. That's @Pewter Report on X, now formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, @Pewter Report, and our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. Good luck, everybody, this week, and I hope you win all of your bets.